world, and welcome to another episode of Critical Hit, a foul-mouthed podcast where we talk about everything. I'm your host, Red King, and with me always is Crimson and Chrono Warden.
I'm not entirely sure why I had one cup off my ear.
Yeah, you have sounded both now. Like the old days where you just had one cup.
3 hosts, 1 cup.
Oh, jeez.
Tonight, it is Heat 2, Round 2 of Mythical Champions. We've been sleeping on it for a minute, but we're back. It is Tsuchigumo versus Phoenix.
Yeah.
Only one will survive.
Yeah, and the Phoenix is always right.
What?
If you got that reference, homie.
No, I didn't get it. Flew right over my head. Are you guys ready?
Falling.
Dang it. I'm ready. Talking shit right off the jump. We are Critical Hit and Mythical Champions Heat 2, Round 2 starts now. Before we begin,
My chest is itchy. Don't ask me why.
yeah, that's really
Fucking tracksuit mafia ass.
Dude,
Put your talc on.
yo, shut up. I'm the most comfy I've ever been recording an episode. I have Crocs on and a tracksuit. I'm comfortable.
Before we begin,
You sound like a middle-aged white woman right now.
yeah,
I've got my joggers and my Crocs on. Like, whoa, I'm so comfy.
Listen,
you'd be
it's
surprised what you can do in Crocs.
Unfortunately, my pumpkin spice is gone. Whoa.
You can go run errands. You can go shake somebody down for money. It's crazy. You can do a lot of things. We're gonna do another segment of D&D Railed,
Yeah, yeah.
a Pathfinder segment.
A Pathfinder segment where you shake people down for money in Crocs. Give me your GP.
You want? Okay, quick aside. Crocs are the ultimate shoe. For this reason, they're actually shaped like human feet. If you look at Crocs, right, you see like your big toe your big toe is forward and your middle toe is sometimes ahead of your big toe. It's like shaped in the correct foot shape.
So are my shoes.
Ain't nobody asking you, bro.
No, there's some pointy shoes.
Yeah, you got a point.
They're a little.
Who the fuck decided that shoes got to end in a point?
Psychos.
Jesters from the 1500s with their stupid little bells.
Listen, don't hate on my bells.
Speaking of clowns,
No, you have croc balls.
I wasn't ready for that.
Speaking of clowns, we are talking about a hero who decided to work for the mob. He lost his rank.
He lost his mind.
No, he gained that back.
Yeah, I guess arguably.
Yeah.
He had a drink, wasn't too many.
I think
Found God.
a god.
Yeah.
One that likes to just kill things that are quote unquote unjust.
He's
He's going through some shit.
That was weird.
It sounded like we were late.
yeah, that really got.
We said it at the same time, the same fucking inflection, and our voices are really similar.
You guys sound very similar.
That was like the chorus effect. That's weird. I didn't even know how to deal with that.
As opposed to the Coriolis effect.
What? Wait, what?
Snipers, you should be thinking about this.
What is a Coriolis effect?
Coriolis has to do with the fact of way like hurricanes and shit spin in northern versus southern hemisphere.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like, I don't know why I thought it had to do with coral.
You're an idiot.
Great Barrier Reef.
Coral.
Coral.
So this is kind of interesting because like we're recording at a different time of the week because we're trying to like stay ahead of like the Thanksgiving break and all that shit.
Yeah, we're trying to still have episodes for you to listen to while you go through your holidays with your family.
Shit, another aside. Here it comes again. I don't know who needs to hear this, but you should have already had your turkeys defrosted by now.
By the time you listen to this episode, I hope your turkeys are gone.
Yeah.
Wait, yeah, actually.
That's crazy because, it comes out on Friday. I'm an idiot.
Or maybe we release it early so you can listen to it on Thanksgiving.
Probably not going to happen.
All right.
So, I mean, realistically, there are people that do their Thanksgivings on the weekend. So,
Word. So
if you're one of those people, make sure your turkey's out by the time you listen to this episode.
That would be insane if it wasn't. So we're
gonna flash fry this fucker.
So
House burns down.
Usually I have like a D&D rail that kind of does a play-by-play of a session that already happened, but now I'm hyping a session that's about to happen.
Yeah, we're about to go into a boss fight.
And this is potentially because we've already had a mini run-in with this particular boss, and it nearly went very badly. Our tank with the most HP, I think she has like 120 something.
She's actually not the person with the most HP.
Who?
My wife has the most HP. She's a Constitution-based class.
Well, then never mind. But she is
AC person.
She is our tank, and that this boss was laying hands and not the healing kind.
So he's all up on his I am a true hero of justice thing against our regular heroes, our professional heroes, and our vigilante
and our one murder hobo.
Yeah.
Draco.
Oh, yeah. He's a free spirit. He's not a murderer.
He posed our party he said to like betray the champion of our group, or in 24 hours he's gonna find her and kill her himself. Obviously, because this is a team-based game, that's not gonna happen. So I've been trying very hard to build what I hope is going to be a challenging boss fight.
Well, who knows? Watch it go crazy. Be like, you know what?
Just get steamrolled like the last couple of boss fights I made up.
Or turn the sniper rifle. Maybe I turn on all y'all and I piece out the campaign.
Like, that was a really weird way for Crimson to leave that one. He could have just said he didn't want to play.
No, Virgil's not going up like that. Come on, man. He's too stylish for that crap.
What's his highest saving throw?
Will.
Okay. No,
Yeah.
Just figuring out if I have to kill him, what spells I need to use.
You ain't getting them.
Magic missile, probably. With my 94 plus 9.
I'm not going to turn on the Bardi. That would be absolutely ridiculous.
I'm not going to turn on the Bardi.
I'm going to turn up the party.
Yeah. Speaking of which, you introduced something interesting in our last session, if you remember correctly, to set the mood.
Oh, Pocket Bard.
Yeah.
That fucking app is awesome, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like Pocket Bard. It's for iOS and Android. I guess now I'll have to drop a link in the description.
Yeah.
It is the ultimate. It's like an app that gives you background music, and you get sliders, right? And the sliders will change the intensity.
Yeah.
Of a song, and you can switch it between exploration mode, which has like a different kind of theme. You could do battle mode. There are different, like, you could make an urban one. You could make like a space one. Kind of like there's like all kinds of different themes, and you can purchase packs to unlock more music. This is not a paid this is not a paid endorsement at all, but it fucking could be, because I fucking love that shit.
Yeah, Pocket Bard, whoever makes Pocket Bard. I'm gonna call you Pocket Bard creators. Maybe you can hit us up.
It's really sick, because the
Pocket Bard is the name of the company.
Hey,
Sweet,
what's
sweet,
up,
sweet.
Pocket Bard?
Pocket Bard LLC,
How you doing?
So like,
a limited liability corporation.
what liability is it, bro? You dropped the
Limited.
tablet on your own dick? Psychotic.
It was the perfect setup for a dramatic water tower face down.
Yeah.
That was incredible.
Yeah, it was really good. It was really good. I'm looking forward to using it again tomorrow, and then probably the new app charm will fade, and I won't be able to queue up anything good, and it'll just sound stupid. But
Go to old standbys.
no, because like my old standby was YouTube, which I did start. Like I subscribed to like YouTube Premium, so I wouldn't have to do the ads.
And then you found Pocket Bard.
And then I found Pocket Bard.
Did you please cancel the YouTube Premium?
No,
No, YouTube Premium is.
you want to know what? Because you boys spoiled now.
Yeah.
I can't stand ads anymore.
Well,
I'm past it.
here's the
They
other.
got me.
You fell in the YouTube trap.
It's
If I unsubscribe, the ads will be worse.
this is true.
That's the YouTube trap.
It's also just very nice not to have. You could just endlessly indulge in nonsense without having to sit with an overly loud and annoying ad because for some reason they still do that.
Boom, pss, pss, boom, boom. Pss.
Is your penis hard?
Whoa. That's exactly
It
what
should be like what?
like. You realize my kids share this fucking account?
Let
God
me get
damn
your
it.
penis hard. Or did you just offer? Did you just offer?
That really went off the rails in perfect theme. We will. I guess I will recap everyone on this hopefully amazing boss fight on our next episode of D&D Railed, a Pathfinder segment.
Is your phoenix hard?
Wow.
My sword is hard.
Let's get this going, man.
Okay, so right. This is Heat 2, round 2 of Mythical Champions. In our red corner, we have not you, motherfucker.
What?
That's right. Tsuchigumo in the red corner.
You betrayed me.
After finishing a honestly easy bout against Mazakine. It was actually a little embarrassing.
That's listen. All right, it was just a bad matchup.
Yep.
Yeah,
was-
you were focusing too much on my current champion.
Yep. Which would have been a great matchup, but too bad she didn't
That was
survive.
some E Honda versus Ryu bullshit. He had Mazakine, she had no chance.
no chance. You're correct about this.
In the blue corner, that's right, I did that shit to you.
Yeah, disgusting.
After his victory against
Lignapushed.
Lignapasht, I'm like so fucking afraid of like saying that and like completely butchering it.
Adrian!
What is wrong with you?
It is the Phoenix. Dadgummit. Concern it. Conflab it.
Rising from the ashes of his opponent. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know what the fuck that was.
2 champions shall enter and only one shall leave because the other one will be dead. We are gonna once again go over their special abilities. We'll go over their weaknesses and we will examine their spec factor and decide who of the 2 will do the damn do.
Yep.
Let me see. So Valkyrie won the previous heat.
Yes.
So it is up to Crimson and Phoenix to you can go first. You can choose to differ.
Okay. So you know what? I'm gonna defer. I'm gonna defer.
Okay.
So I want to hear what you got. What do you show me what you got?
So, just as a refresher on Tsuchigumo, it is a 60-foot long spider with greater than human intelligence. It is a master of illusions. Its webs, being that it's from a spider that large, are incredibly strong because spider silk has greater strength than steel. It is not, they are not steel. I will say that. They are stronger than steel, but they themselves are not metal.
Which, I mean, bonus, but go on.
They can also shapeshift into many, many things.
That's cool. That's very cool.
Well, that's in the actual saga that covers Tsuchigumo. The warrior they're fighting, they invade a village, and it's this dude's army versus Tsuchigumo's illusion army. So they can make massive illusions.
Listen, there ain't gonna be no illusion to this ass whooping, so go ahead.
Let's cover some of the Phoenix's weaknesses
Oh
and
boy.
some forms that will be of use here.
Sure.
So, iron. Tsuchigumo, being an ancient lived warlord type creature, is familiar with weapons. There is a type of yokai called a Tsukumogami, which is the idea behind the original version is it's an object that is useful that has been around for more than 100 years, gains a spirit. Very often happens with swords.
What if it's a steel sword?
That's still iron.
Yeah, steel is refined iron, my dude.
Steel is an alloy of carbon and iron.
I was hoping.
It's fine. He was pretending to be stupid.
Yeah, of course.
So it's a katana that can float on its own and fly.
Oh, it's like that fucking sword from Pokemon.
Yes, or any of the various like Japanese objects that do it.
Yeah. Like
It's a whole type of like spirit.
A tea kettle. Honestly,
I think he was
because
going for a sex toy.
how the fuck can you read minds?
You get this look in your eye where you're about to go. And you just raise your eyebrows twice. And I don't even think you always know you do it.
I didn't even say it. That's incredible.
He's imagining like some chick in a kimono.
This is my memoirs of a geisha.
Memoirs of getting fucking arrested.
You deserve prison.
That's mean.
So, magic.
Yeah.
So Tsuchigumo itself, its primary magic is the illusion stuff. Kitsunes are a form it can take. And there is a kitsune for each element.
This is true.
Water kitsune.
Okay. Okay.
And if it needs fire immunity, classic Oni. And all of these are spirits, which means while you can affect the world around them with time, they themselves
Impressive. Okay.
exist outside the scope of time.
Okay. Okay. That all right, arguably very good comeback there. That's not bad. That's not bad. I got a little something for you.
Okay.
Okay. So, Tsuchigumo, big spider with eyes, you know what I mean? Spider eyes. You know how those spider eyes work? You know how they got all them fucking dealy bobs in there?
Yeah.
You mean the fact that they are eyes,
Their eyes are different than human eyes. They have those weird, like crazy
compound eyes.
compound eyes. Yeah, exactly. I knew what that was.
Well, compound eyes is technically flies.
What the hell does spiders got?
Oh wow, you're right.
Spiders are just weird. They just have 8 eyes.
well, they got 8 eyes to be bamboozled by photokinesis.
Okay.
So
Light bending.
light bending, yes. Which the only reason why anything with eyes can see is because of light refractions.
Mhm.
So a phoenix has the ability to control, manipulate, and otherwise use light to its advantage. So with controlling of light, it could potentially take away vision, which is a very difficult thing for a seeing creature to then deal with. I don't think spiders are well known for their hearing. Are they?
Spiders tend to rely more on. So depends on the species of spider, but usually they rely on things pulling on webs, or trapdoor spiders sense vibrations in the ground. Tsuchigumo is the mountain spider. It lives in caves. So
Well-
it basically has the equivalent of tremor sense.
So,
And spiders can very often feel things moving their hair.
so how much? I guess a bird-eating tarantula might be an argument here.
Ba-ba-bows.
So
That's a rough one.
yep, that's a rough one. But we're not done yet.
I know.
Because as we stated in the, by the way, I guess it's a good time to go over what the Phoenix can also do, as that technically should have been a first thing. Phoenix can also be a shapeshifter. It can take the form of not many things, but a human is one of them. In human form, they have super strength. They have fire mimicry. They can fake fire as well as real fire. They have incineration touch, which in human form only, a phoenix can incinerate anyone or anything with a single touch. So it says the ability is so strong they can reduce a whole human man to ashes in seconds. So it says it's similar to an angel smiting. So it's a pretty explosive deal. Superhuman speed, hellfire, and holy fire, not just regular fire. Pyrokinesis, which is
Fire
obvious.
control.
So is holy and unholy fire a human only thing, or is that
That is any type of, that's a phoenix in any form. So as long as it can cast fire, which it can in any form, it can also use hell or holy fire. Immortality, which we're, like I said, we're not going to count that because it can die. It just comes back. So as long as it
There
dies,
is actually a way to kill a phoenix that is an ash form. You have to douse them in water.
ooh, okay. I mean that's fair, but I was still going to take a death as a death though.
is
Well, yes.
Tsuchigumo technically a demon?
Tsuchigumo is a yokai.
Okay.
So, healing tears, a healing factor. So even if it's a non-fatal injury, they can heal themselves, similar to something like Deadpool or Wolverine. They can disappear in bursts of flames. They have chronokinesis, which we've went over. Self-resurrection, shape-shifting, and matter transmutation.
What the fuck?
So yes, so it can create things from just matter that exists in the world. So
Well, transmutation and creation are two different things. It's converting something.
so it has to. That's what I mean. It has to be there first. So it.
Law of equivalent of exchange.
Yes. So it's
Turning a cave into lava.
Yep, turning a cave into lava, turning any of that stone into, theoretically, you could create weapons from it. So if you just need to turn into human form and arm yourself, you could do that. Mind you, with super speed and super strength.
So is the phoenix in human form still have that weakness to iron?
The Phoenix always has weakness to iron,
Okay.
no matter what. Same thing with magic. Still fallible by magic. But I think the argument would have to be at that point, you would have to be able to get to the Phoenix definitively. This thing is fast. This thing is significantly smaller than Tsuchigumo.
In spider form.
In spider form, yes. Which I also want to say, if you were to transform into something that a Phoenix could have a better chance of physically going up against in human form, I think that would detract from Tsuchigumo before anything.
I think with Incineration Touch that the bigger the target, the worse off it obviously would be. Just that ability to just fucking lucky one-shot somebody.
That's where the Oni comes in.
Yes.
Because here's the thing, right? It says it can incinerate something the size of a man. So assuming we'll go with the average height of a male in the United States is 5'11". So it can burn that in a matter of seconds. This is something 10 times that size. Tsuchigumo can shapeshift instantaneously.
Yes.
So this is true. That does not mean that the incineration can't still happen. And even still, you would theoretically lose an arm as opposed to losing an entire person. It's still a pretty big chunk of damage.
I would argue that the ability to just output damage on an Incineration Touch would be... That'd be one of the more dangerous aspects of...
I think physically going against a Phoenix would be a tough thing to do. Now, granted, turning into a sword and an iron sword could definitely have...
Now, the intelligence level of a Phoenix, we already figured that, generally speaking, they are not hellishly smarter than...
They're about, I mean, in human form, it's human intelligence. In bird form, it's literally everything is bird. So brain is bird. Obviously, danger sense is there. Everything has some sense of actual danger, but it's still a small bird brain. So it's different when it becomes the actual bird.
And with magic being its weakness, illusions will tend to be a tough spot.
I guess it kind of depends, because if you were to argue that visual illusions come from...
There's not only visual illusions, though. There's auditory hallucinations as well.
So I think that would be the tough part. I think visual would not be that hard, because if there was any type of idea that there was indeed an illusion, technically speaking, I would argue that the photokinesis could potentially nullify that.
Yeah, I would agree. Photokinesis can counter a visual illusion.
Right. So auditory, yes, and depending on how far the illusion can go, because I know that sometimes even creatures can control scent and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, Tsuchigumo is a master of illusion.
Yeah. So I could certainly see that being a problem. Now, I will also say, with matter transmutation, I would argue that if you were to turn into a sword, it could potentially be a way to counteract the iron of the sword, to transmute a way through it, so to speak. You can move it around you so it doesn't hit you.
So if you talk about
that creates a different problem, though, because if you're doing that and then it just turns back into a giant spider, you just get flattened.
True. Very, very true.
So if something has an explicit weakness to iron, I tend to I like to reference fairies.
Yeah.
There's a situation where a fairy will act to do something against you, and you wave iron in front of it, and it starts to just mess up its powers. More or less.
I didn't get that from reading up on Phoenix. It's a little bit like Jinn in that regard, where it's weak to it, but a Phoenix doesn't necessarily have to run away from it.
Right. It doesn't get disrupted.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they are vulnerable to iron, but that is it. It's not necessarily a power disruptor or anything like that. Now, I would also say that if enough time to react, even if Tsuchigumo was to turn back into spider form, you could just disappear into a burst of flame and reappear somewhere else.
And the flames are damaging if you.
Yeah. Yep. It is like everything fire is, if you're weak to it or if you're at least affected by it, it will at least hurt.
I mean, short of dousing itself in water, Tsuchigumo doesn't have any particular, like, it's not vulnerable or invulnerable to fire. It's as normally burnable as a spider is normally burnable.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, I will say also for a Phoenix, though powerful, you were dealing with a bird most of the time, or a human. Now, when it's shapeshifting ability, it's only ever stated that it's bird, human, or bigger bird.
Right, like ostrich.
Yeah. It is not a situation where, you know, it can turn into anything like Tsuchigumo. It is not like a master level shapeshifter. It's just a couple different forms. Human form does kind of give it a couple, which is weird, unique abilities. Bird form, it cannot do incineration touch. So if you were to attack it in bird form, it's actually a bit more susceptible to being messed up. So we'll give it that.
And then all of its bones are regular.
Yeah, yep.
I think that's the interesting thing, weakness wise, to both of these enemies, is that they're physical.
Yes.
They have real tangible bodies that operate the same way that bodies do, except, you know, for one, Tsuchigumo's huge. He's a spider. He's a huge fucking spider.
Well, yeah, as I said in the last episode with Tsuchigumo, technically Tsuchigumo is killed in their mythos with a sword strike right down their abdomen. It just happens to unleash millions of, you know, corgi-sized spiders.
Right.
I don't even want to think about the horrors of that.
That's also the thing, is that last chance fuck you of waves of spiders.
Which, I mean, it could be a problem. I mean, there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
But they lack some of the more...
They're not trained, right? They're still babies.
They lack some of the more advanced Tsuchigumo powers.
Yes.
Yes. And I would say, aside from something like a strike from iron, unless it was outright fatal just from the jump, I think healing factor is a big deal.
It starts to heal itself pretty quick.
Yeah. Now, again, it's actually not hard to completely obliterate a Phoenix in bird form. It's small. It's not
a really good SWAT.
Yeah. It is not. It's not a big bird. It's also not really technically that hard in human form if you're bigger than a human. But I will say that I think combinations of mobility, bit of trickery, and the healing factor, I think, would probably be, in my opinion.
So does iron cancel the healing factor?
Iron absolutely cancels the healing factor. Iron can kill it if you.
So like if it's in human form and you cut its hand, that's not just going to heal.
Nope.
Okay.
It won't heal at all. As a matter of fact, it turns out just like a regular human. So even if you cut him down the chest with an iron sword,
it starts a downward slope into just.
Yep. And I would probably even argue worse than a regular human, because it is like.
Well, right, because that's the thing, right? With us, if we took a sword and it didn't just immediately go into our chest cavity and kill us, like you just get a slit over the top, that'll heal eventually.
Yeah, the Phoenix will not heal. So even if say human form Phoenix went to a doctor and was like, stitch me up, they could stitch him up, and as long as those stitches hold, it won't be open, but it will never heal. Weakness is weakness. It'll die. So same thing with magic. If you have a very good practitioner of magic, especially water magic, might have a pretty big problem on his hands.
Now, Tsuchigumo, since it is a yokai, it can be exorcised with holy magic, right?
Yokai are not demons.
Okay.
So yokai is a broad category. There are good ones, there are bad ones, there are just yokai that are just like people, just like they have a job in the celestial order and they're just like, I'm just trying to do my fucking job, dude. Leave me alone.
Right. So they
Tsuchigumo tend to fall on the evil spectrum because they're warlords, right? They're like, I'm gonna conquer territory. But they're not inherently weak to wholly anything.
Right. Okay.
And technically,
the Oni form would be the one that has the holy issue.
And technically, e-girls are also a broad category.
Man.
I don't know why I fucking said that.
What a fucking...
What a fucking reach. Like, stop trying to hit a shelf that's outside your scope, man.
I do that every day of my life, man.
That was... And the thing about it is, like, it was like no wind up. It was so unprovoked. He just like sprung an ultra.
We're just having a serious conversation about two mythical creatures. E-girls are a broad category too, bro.
I don't know. It popped into my mind, and you guys were so serious, I didn't have a chance to say it immediately.
Why so serious?
I was like, wait a minute.
E-girls?
I got a chance. Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
I'm gonna slide into these DMs like an unwanted D-pic.
Yeesh. Oh my gosh, dude. My existence is an unwanted D-pic.
Damn.
So, I will say, though, that does sort of negate one of the bigger defenses you've stated against a phoenix is the Oni form having resistance to fire.
Mm-hmm.
The Oni form probably taking around a giant iron canabo, I would assume. So being able to be exercised with holy fire, that might be...
Well, so here's the thing, right? The fire itself, it has a process that allows it to be exorcised. It's not vulnerable to the fire.
Right. Okay. That's fair. That makes sense. But the holy part of the holy fire would still be problematic.
It would irritate it. Like it's going to frustrate it and distract it.
Yeah. Okay.
But the idea is that if Phoenix in human form is smart enough to figure out that, okay, it's taking this form when I'm using fire, and it has the ability to make things, if it's smart enough to know what an Oni can be banished with, it can shut that form down.
Okay.
It'll force him to transform.
Into something else.
Whatever
yes.
he gets next is something you'll have to deal with. But it'll force him to transform at that point.
Okay, got you. Now here's an idea. What about just a direct overbearing, like, for lack of a better term, like Tien Shinhan kind of just blast the eyes with burning hot light and just blind somebody. Take away one sense completely.
In which form?
In any form that needs to see.
Okay, because the thing about the katana spirit sword form doesn't rely on sight or anything. There's that's all supernatural senses.
Yeah,
It's just a sword.
The
Or whatever.
Kitsune it can see through magic. It's got really good hearing, really good sense of smell. Kitsunes don't really have to rely on sight as much.
Right.
Blinding them would still work, but it's not their primary sense.
Okay.
The Oni, probably that would be a better tactic.
Yeah. Okay. So far the nullification starts to be more the Oni so far.
The Oni is definitely a weak spot, capable of like random crits,
Yeah.
but definitely weak. I think anything, regardless of whether or not vision is its primary sense, once your eyes get blasted like that, I mean,
So this would be what I would say, though, is that you can only really do that once. You can blind one of Tsuchigumo's forms once, then it's going to pick something that does not need to rely on sight.
but
So unless you can get the killing blow in that instant.
I mean, that's a fair argument.
that is fair.
That's a fair argument.
Not to say Phoenix can't get the killing blow in that moment.
And then the other option is just a huge wave of fire.
Because I think that akin to the Jin, the even more so than a Jin, pyrokinesis is the main thing of this bird. It's a fireboard. So
I am fireboard.
So I would say that again, kind of the just crowd control amounts of fire, and I would say maybe even forcing a transformation and then attacking while you have to take time to. Now it's instantaneous, yes.
It still takes a couple seconds.
So forcing a transformation potentially might be the strategy,
because it's hitting a brick wall, figuring out, oh shit, I gotta shift, and then shifting. Same thing that would happen with the Phoenix itself is realizing that maybe you can't do enough damage, or you can't get around fast enough as a bird, and then shifting, or getting into a tough spot in your human form and then having to shift out of it.
Yeah.
Which I will also say that a Phoenix technically couldn't mid-high flight switch into a human form. Because
you can't land out of it.
Yep, because it would fall and die.
Even like a full speed flight, you'd have to stop
and then shift.
Yeah, otherwise, what if you're in a dive bomb and you're moving along the ground at like whatever.
So that does create an interesting idea. If there's a web barrier.
If Tsuchigumo set up a no-fly zone.
Yeah. Because you'd have to take time to burn it.
Right.
That is true. It does create a moment of vulnerability.
But if you cloak yourself in flame and dive bomb through webs, it may not be too bad of an issue.
But then you can get blasted with water while you're dive bombing.
Yeah, I think that goes the same for both of them, is having to work on suppressing your ability to like focus on the actual enemy. And like illusions are going to be tough, because if suddenly there's 3 Tsuchigumos, you got to figure out which one's the right one. And that might be all that it takes.
Yeah.
If he turns into, illusions are going to be tough, especially if you're of bird intelligence or slightly better. This is going to be, because it's hard to define it, like really, really define it.
And I think the interesting fact is that it's a game of forcing the other to play your style.
Yeah.
And if that happens, definitively it comes out a victory. And I think that's kind of the interesting part, is
we
that
haven't had that up to this point.
No, we really haven't.
Yeah.
It's usually just been, I've got enough resources to overpower your shit.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, if you like, and that's an interesting thing to deal with, because now it's just how many times in a theoretical, however many round bout, can somebody force the other one to play their play style? Like, this is Street Fighter.
If you can make Guile not charge, he's fucked.
Yeah.
He can't use his flash kick. He can't use his sonic boom.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's kind of an interesting place to be in right now.
Yeah.
Because I almost, going into this, like, it was hard. It was a hard thought process to be like, okay, I think, Tsuchigumo might be a challenge, because it's like, you think it's like big illusionary spider can transform into stuff. Okay. But then it's like, and you start to think about the implications of it, and you get a little bit more reveal. And it's like, this is harder than I thought.
and it's like, it seems like the killing blow comes from being able to, one, make your opponent play your game.
It's literally
And then-
in that instant you create the opening, right?
Yes. And then you have to really drive on them,
Oh, yeah.
because you can't just shoot one fireball and have it be it. You have to bathe a 60-foot spider in a lot of fire to burn its body up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Because theoretically speaking, too, you could light a Tsuchigumo on fire, but if it transformed into something that doesn't really matter, now it doesn't matter that it was previously on fire.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that I think the only thing you could argue with a phoenix and its weakness with water is that in human form,
It's not it. I mean, its fire is limited a little bit more there, but yeah, in human form, it's not like it's always on fire.
yeah. Whereas in fireboard form, you hit it with water, it's gone.
Yeah.
So again, it's like transformations can circumvent a lot of weaknesses, but at the same time, if you force a transformation, there's your opening, and I
Yeah.
think that's kind of the thing.
That's the go back and forth here.
Yeah.
So I think it is verdict time.
Let's get vertical or whatever. I'm stupid.
That was another dud.
Yeah. The first one would have been good if I could have timed it better. You guys were wordy with your explanations.
We're verbose men.
This is true.
Increasingly verbose. Oh boy.
Much like your hub backlog.
Like
Thank
I really like porn with a lot of dialogue.
I watch
I watch it for
Playboy
the-
for the story.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I really do watch it for the plot, guys.
I can't pay my bills. All right, Octomom.
Yeesh. I think I'm going to. This one was tough. As far as strengths and weaknesses, they both pretty easily countered each other. Up to this point, there hasn't really been an ability to like stop gap like their glaring flaws.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think that as far as I think it comes down beyond trying to force your opponent to shift out of like their apex form. I think it does ultimately come down to damage output.
Mm-hmm.
I think so I think for this one I'm going to give the edge to the Phoenix.
Mm.
It is not this is one that's like not by a huge margin. Just the ability to, even if you're being tricked by an illusion, once you figure that out, just being able to shit fire all over the place.
Right.
Uh,
Okay, that didn't burn, so ignore that. Yeah.
yes. Being able to overcome being outsmarted, which it's going to happen a lot to a bird, to just freak out and blast things.
Yeah.
And even like pushed to like being pushed will yield more fire. Obviously, being able to force your opponent to shift. Once you encounter a giant spider and set him on fire, he's going to have to do something to stop being on fire.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the first move, and I think it will eventually lead to the last move with enough fire. Were it anybody else, were its heart able to be swayed by fear and stuff, I think like being a bird brain is kind of useful because there's not so much of a mental, like you're not being demoralized
Yeah.
as often in battle, because that's one thing. Like I think, for instance, if a Valkyrie manage to fail her disbelief against an illusion, that could be very bad because they, even though they're incredible warriors, they still operate more like very, 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 very on point humans.
Yeah.
This is a bird most of the time.
Yeah.
And I think demoralizing a bird who wants to kill you is a little bit tougher.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think I would agree with that. I think for once, like not really having this this over involvement, so to speak, in success or failure, I think is kind of a difference maker there. And to be able to control like a battlefield in not like a battlefield commander way, but just to have enough things to get in the way of something to force the game plan. And I think that's kind of
because you're destroying cover, you're filling structures with fire. It makes it ultimately more difficult to gain the tactical edge just because there's fucking fire everywhere. It was close, but I think that I think the Phoenix got it.
I'm not gonna lie, that was surprising. Like that was surprising. Going into it, man, I was like, this might be a clean sweep here.
Well, the thing I would imagine would be Tsuchigumo landing a lot more of those pop off criticals and just
yeah,
like a single move, like flying in, I'm about to land that killing blow, and then just feathers everywhere because it turned into a sword last second. Or something like that, thinking you have the upper hand by incinerating most of its legs, and like, I've got you now, and he shifts into an Oni and just fucking clonks your head off your shoulders.
Yeah, and the weird thing is, I think if any point the base form was any of these more strict weaknesses, like Phoenix weaknesses, it actually would have been worse.
Yeah.
It would have, and I think that more times the Phoenix would have died at that point, because I think having to shift into something, which you said it takes a second to realize what's going on, that you're in danger, you need to change into something, and then now that's an opening.
Yep.
And I think from start to finish, there's just slightly more of those with a Tsuchigumo than there is a Phoenix. Because the Phoenix starts in Bird.
Yeah.
And in Bird is somewhat arguably the most dangerous form, because yes, Incineration Touch is great, but you gotta make contact, which you're not making contact with any of your weaknesses at that point.
Right.
But
this was freaking good, man.
That was a good bout. I was surprised at that one. That was a good one.
But that means that the final heat.
It's what we've been building up to, man.
Let's see who gets their wings clipped first. And with that, we have reached the end. Rest in peace, Tsuchigumo. The Phoenix moves on.
I really wish my counter pick for the Valkyrie went down. This is actually, I think, going to be harder than if Mazikeen made it. So we're just gonna see what happens.
Do you get to eat Phoenixes if you kill them?
I imagine they taste like chicken.
Yeah, they explode into ash if they die. Yeah,
sad.
Yeah.
Find us wherever you find your favorite Mythical Champions podcast. We are on Google, Apple, Spotify, iHeart, Pandora, and others. Find us on YouTube at Crit2, always with a K. Same on Twitter. That's right, I fucking said it. I don't don't even know what to call it anymore.
We're done with that posing ass shit. It's Twitter. It will always be Twitter.
Crit Hit Official on Twitter.
Well, right, because you type in twitter.com, not X.
Yeah. Hey, you want to know what I figured out? It's just the T caca.
Oh, they really
Plus
did
sign
that.
for a multiplication symbol.
There you go. New episodes
You're not
every
fancy, Elon. You're not that smart.
new episodes every Friday. Until then, yeah, Elon just got burnt.